Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my updated house prediction for 2024 with all the districts included. But before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed and click the bell so you get notified whenever I upload a video instead of missing out on any of them. And also, we have memberships, so if you're interested in that, you can find the link in the description section. We have custom perks and custom emojis that you can use whenever you comment on any of my videos. So let's start off with Arizona's 1st congressional district. This district has been held by a Republican incumbent, and this is their 7th term going all the way back to 2011. And last time in 2020, Biden won this particular district, Arizona's 1st, by 1.5%. Meanwhile, it went to the Republican incumbent by 1 percentage point. So if Donald Trump is able to, perform very well in the state in which he's poised to do, according to majority of polls, I think it can honestly help this Republican incumbent. And so I think Arizona's 1st congressional district in the 2024 House race will remain Republican by a lean margin, but it's going to be close no matter what at the end of the day. And then as for Arizona's 6th congressional district, this district went to a Republican for their 1st term in 2023. Meanwhile, Biden barely won this district by the nearest of narrow margins of 0.1%. Meanwhile, it went to the Republican by 1.5 percentage points. So if Donald Trump, I think, honestly can carry the Republicans over in their congressional races, I honestly think Arizona's 6 will remain red in 2024. And then moving on to California's 13th congressional district, John Duarte was a first-time Republican congressman from 2023, and this district went to Biden by 11 points. Meanwhile, John Duarte only won this by 0.4%. So meanwhile, Biden's margin in California would dip. I honestly think that because his margin was just so small, I think Adam Gray, the Democratic challenger, honestly is going to flip this. And so at the end of the day, Democrats ultimately will flip this district from red to blue, helping them out with the map. So I think California's 13th will flip from red to blue. And then as for California's 22nd, David Vallado, I think that's his name, incumbent Republican congressman from 2021. He served 2 terms and he won by 3%. Meanwhile, Biden won this district by 13 percentage points. So I honestly think he's going to hold this competitive district for the Republicans. And then as for California's 27th congressional district, Mike Garcia, incumbent Republican, served 3 terms dating back to 2020. I think this one's pretty obvious. He won last time by 6.5%. Meanwhile, Joe Biden won this district by over 12 points. So he won by great substantial margin, so I think he's going to more than likely hang on to this district. It's kind of a no-brainer at this point. And then as for California's 41st congressional district, Ken Calvert, I think that's how you say his name. He served here 16 terms, going back to 1993. So this dude is a career politician, obviously. He won by 4.5% last time. Meanwhile, Trump won California's 41st congressional district by 1%. And so I think he also is more than likely going to hold on to this district for the Republicans. And then as for California's 45th congressional district, I think Republicans are more than likely going to hang on to this. It went to the Republican incumbent, who served 2 terms going back to 2021 by 5%. Meanwhile, this district went to Biden by 6 points. So I think she won by a great margin last time. So I think she should do the same this time around again. And then as for California's 47th congressional district, Katie Porter obviously is not going to be the incumbent Democrat because she ran for the Senate and she lost to both Steve Garvey, the Republican, and Adam Schiff, the Democrat. So obviously she will not be California's senator. This district went blue last time by 3.5%. Meanwhile, on the general election level, Biden won it by 11 points. So California might slightly shift towards the right, but at the end of the day, I honestly think California's 47th congressional district is going to remain blue for the Democrats. This is going to be a hold for their House seat. And then as for Colorado's 3rd congressional district, Lauren Boebert is obviously not going to run again. She's switching to run for Colorado's 4th primary. So she only won by 0.2%, and Colorado is a state that is shifting towards the left in favor of Democrats. So I honestly think this is going to be another pickup for the Democratic Party. They're going to flip Lauren Boebert's seat from red to blue. And keep in mind, Democrats have gained in Colorado in terms of voter registration. Back in 2020, they out-registered Republicans by roughly 100,000. And now you take a look at 2024, they're doing roughly 4,000 better. They outregister Republicans in Colorado by 104,000. So you can see the trends in this state in favor of Democrats. And then as for Colorado's 8th congressional district, I honestly think Democrats will hold on to this competitive race as well. But keep in mind, it was very close, so I expect it to be close again. Democrat only won it by 0.7 points. Meanwhile, Biden won it by 4.5%. I honestly have it going blue again because the state overall in terms of voter registration is just shifting to the left in favor of Democrats. So I expect Colorado to actually get bluer than it was in 2020 slightly. And then as for Connecticut's 5th congressional district, Johanna Hayes, I think that's how you say her name. Going back to 2019, she served 3 terms. She won by 0.8% last time as an incumbent, which was extremely narrow, and that was more favorable for Joe Biden. So at the end of the day, I honestly think Connecticut's 5th is going to flip from blue to red in favor of Republicans. So that's going to be another pickup for the GOP. And as for Iowa's 3rd congressional district, Zach Noon is a first-time 2023. He won by a margin of 0.7%, while Trump won this particular district in 2020 by 0.3%. So he slightly outperformed Donald Trump. But in terms of voter registration, Iowa is shifting significantly, substantially to the right. Back in 2020, Republicans out-registered Democrats by only 13,000. Now you take a look at 2024, fast forward 4 years later, Republicans out-registered Democrats in Iowa by almost 150,000 more registered voters. So you can see the shifts in the trend. So as for Iowa's 3rd, I think Republicans will hold on to this district. It's only going to get redder on the long run. Iowa is shifting towards the right. I think it's pretty obvious. We all know this by now. And then as for Illinois' 17th congressional district, Democratic incumbent, first term. He won by 4 points last time. Meanwhile, Biden won it by nearly 8%. I honestly think that Democrats will continue to hang on to this district at the end of the day. And the Indiana's 1st, Democratic incumbent. He served 2 terms from 2021. He won by 5.5%. So meanwhile, Biden may lose support on the popular vote. I still think his margin was just too great for any Republican to overcome. So I think Democrats will hang on to Indiana's 1st. And even in Michigan's 7th congressional district, obviously Alyssa Slotkin is running for the U.S. Senate. She's not going to be the incumbent, but I still think she won by a substantial margin. And meanwhile, Michigan might shift towards the right in favor of Trump because Biden is just so unpopular. And you saw 100,000 people voted uncommitted in the Democratic primaries. I still think it's not going to matter as Biden won this district by only 0.5%. So he was unpopular back then again. I think this district is going to remain blue for the Democrats, even though Alyssa Slotkin is not going to run again. And then Michigan's 10th congressional district, John James, the incumbent Republican, he served only 1 term. He won by a margin of 0.5%. Meanwhile, Trump won this particular district by 1 point back in 2020. Considering that he underperformed Donald Trump, I think this district could possibly flip blue. But at the end of the day, I think it is very possible that Trump does carry John James to a possible victory on the ballot. So I'm going to say he narrowly wins again by either 1 to 2 percentage points. It's going to be close no matter what. So Michigan's 10th, I think Republicans will narrowly hang on to that. And then Minnesota's 2nd, Angie Craig. She's a 3rd-term congresswoman from 2019. She won by a margin of 5 points, and then Biden won it by 7 points. So she slightly underperformed Biden, but I still think she's going to barely hang on to this district by a lean margin in 2024. And then as for Montana's 1st congressional district, Ryan Zink, he's a 1st-term congressman. He only served 1 term. He won by 3 points last time. Donald Trump won this district by 7%. And so at the end of the day, considering Biden's popularity, I think Trump is going to, help him with the ballot. And so I think he's likely going to actually keep this district in 2024 for the Republicans. And then as for Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, I think Don Bacon, the Republican incumbent, is going to hang on to this competitive district. He won by almost 3 points. Meanwhile, this district went to Biden by 6% back in 2020. And so he's a 4th-term congressman, so I think considering he's a strong incumbent, I expect him to hang on and keeping that seat red for the GOP. And then New Jersey's 7th, Tom Kean, he's a 1st term. He only served 1 term. He won by 3 points last time. This district went to Biden by 4%. So he outperformed Trump in New Jersey's 7th. So I think this district is going to stay red for the Republicans. And then as for New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District, Gabriel Vasquez is a first-term congressman. Going back to 2023, he won by a margin of 0.7 points compared to Biden's 6%. In my opinion, New Mexico is a lot more bluer than what some people may think. I think Biden's going to comfortably win it by a likely margin. So at the end of the day, considering that he only served for his first term, he was not that popular, I think he can only expand on his margin. I think he's going to win it again by a lean margin and keeping New Mexico's 2nd blue for the Democrats on the House. And that's for Nevada's 3rd Congressional District. I think this is likely going to stay blue for the Democrats. Susie Lee is a third-term Congresswoman. She served since 2019. And she won by 4 points last time, so I expect her to do the same this time around. As for Ohio's 13th Congressional District, the incumbent Democrat, she only served one term, but I don't think that's going to matter. At the end of the day, she won by 5.5%. I think that's too much of a margin for a Republican to overcome at the end of the day. I think she's likely going to hang on to that district. And then Oregon's 5th Congressional District, Republican incumbent only served one time, going back to 2023, she won by a margin of 2%. Keep in mind, this district went to Biden by 9 points. And so with that being said, at the end of the day, I think Oregon's 5th is going to remain red for the Republicans. And then as for Pennsylvania's 7th Congressional District, Susan Wild is a 4th-time Congresswoman. She served since 2018. She won by a couple points last time. She actually outperformed Biden. And so even if Biden may lose the state, I think she's going to outperform him once again. So I think Pennsylvania's 7th will remain blue for the Democrats. At the end of the day, she's a good, strong incumbent. And then Pennsylvania's 8th, Matt Cartwright, is a 6th-time congressman. Going back to 2013, he won by 2.5 points. Meanwhile, this district went to Trump by 3%. So I think he's a strong incumbent Democrat as well. I expect Pennsylvania's 8th, just like Pennsylvania's 7th, to remain blue for the Democrats. But don't get me wrong, it's going to be close at the end of the day, considering that Republicans have gained in terms of registration in Pennsylvania statewide as a whole. Back in 2020, Democrats had the advantage by 685,000 voter registrations compared to now, 2024, they only have a advantage lead of 400,000 in terms of voter registration. So obviously, Pennsylvania is getting a little bit more redder, but I still think it's going to go to the Democrats in terms of Pennsylvania's 8th and 7th Congressional District. Last final 4 districts before we close out this video. Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, she won by 3.5%. Last time, Biden won this district by 2%. So at the end of the day, I think Virginia is going to get slightly redder, and then I think she's going to probably hang on to this district. And then as for Virginia's 7th, I think this district is going to remain blue likely for the Democrats. I know the current incumbent Democrat is retiring to run for governor of Virginia in 2025. I still think that's not going to matter at the end of the day. And then as for Washington's 3rd Congressional District, Mari Perez, she only served one time, and she won by 0.8 last time, but this district went to Trump by 4%. And so I think since she's only a first-time Congresswoman and she still won by 1%, I think she can only expand on her margin. She was unpopular at that time, so I think she could win arguably by a couple points this time around. So I think Washington's 3rd district is going to remain blue for the Democrats, but it's going to be close no matter what. And then as for Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District, obviously this district is going to remain red for the Republicans. Mind you, Derek Van Orden, he only served one term, and he won by a pretty good margin, I would say, a decent margin. And he slightly underperformed Trump by exactly 1%, but I don't think that's going to matter at the end of the day. And so this is my finalized 2024 House map as of today. I currently have Democrats taking back control of the House, flipping it with 220 seats, or districts, to the Republicans' 215. So it's going to be close no matter what at the end of the day, but I honestly think Republicans can take it. Don't get me wrong. They have gained in registration, and I think if Trump can carry some of these Republicans on the ballot to a possible victory, they could keep the House, but it's going to be a very slim, narrow margin, just like how it currently is. But I currently have Democrats barely keeping the House. So let me know whether you agree or disagree in the comment section down below. And one last final reminder before I close out this video is to subscribe and click the bell so you get notified whenever I upload a video instead of missing out on any of them. Also, we have memberships. You can find the link to that in the description section. Thank you everyone for watching.